Syakinana Suhabinta Zainuddin. I am from the 83C class. My matrix number is 01 D8019F1121. This video is talking about my presentation in Cost and Management Accounting subject. First, I would like to thank Puan Jawaria for giving me the opportunity to talk about this presentation. My topic is in chapter 2, which is production overhead. First, what is an overhead? An overhead is an indirect expenses that cannot be easily traced to a particular product or job. An overhead cost is also referred as to indirect cost. Therefore, an overhead comprises three elements, which is indirect materials, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. The first element is indirect materials. Indirect materials refer to the material which are not traceable to products being made. Indirect materials do not become an integral part of finished goods. The example of indirect materials are tools, consumable, oil and lubricant, glue, thread, nails, cleaning materials, and etc. The second element is indirect labor. Indirect labor refers to the labor which is not directly engaged to the production. In other words, it cannot be traced directly to the product. Wages paid to the indirect labor are called indirect wages. Some examples of indirect wages are wages paid to foremen, factory supervisors, storekeepers, maintenance inspector, and etc. The third and last element is indirect expenses. Indirect expenses refer to the expenses other than direct expenses. Some examples of indirect examples are rent and rates, heating and lighting, depreciation, maintenance, supervision, insurance, and etc. Next, an overhead can be divided into three categories. First, production overhead, manufacturing overheads, and factory overheads. Second, administrative overheads. Third and the last, selling and distribution overhead. First category is production overheads, manufacturing overheads, and factory overhead. Production overheads refer to the costs associated with operating a factory, beginning with supplying materials to workstations until the packing of the products. Production overheads include all production costs other than direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. Examples of production overhead include depreciation and insurance of factory building, repairs and maintenance of plant and machinery of other production facilities, factory rent and rates, lighting and heating, indirect wages and indirect material such as factory supplies, lubricant, and etc. And the last one is salaries and related costs of production management. The second category is administrative overhead. Administrative overhead are the aggregated costs associated with the general management of an organization. Administration is not directly related to other departments in the organization. Example, office rent and rates, office lighting and air conditioning, depreciation, repair and maintenance, and insurance of office building, office equipment, furniture, and etc. Salaries of office staff, direct remuneration, audit fees, postage, telephone and courier services for the office, printing and stationery for the office, legal expenses, audit fees, and bank charges. The last categories is selling and distribution overhead. Selling and distribution overheads include all costs that are incurred to secure customers' order and get the finished goods to the customers. Examples of selling and distribution overheads are as follows. First, selling overheads. Sales commission and traveling expenses for salesmen, expenses relating to showrooms, advertisement and publicity expenses, collection charges, cost of catalogue and price list. The second one is distribution overheads. Expenses of warehouse, carriage and freight outwards, depreciation, insurance, repair and maintenance of the distribution vehicles. My final point is source document used for collecting the overhead. An overhead cost should be collected from various of sources. There are some of main document used for collecting an overhead. First, material requisition for indirect material. Second, wages analysis sheet for indirect labor. Third, invoices for indirect expenses. Fourth, plant register for depreciation. And fifth, the last one is meter record for electricity. That's all from me. Thank you for watching my presentation video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much and goodbye.